teman-teman semangat makan dia, makanya anak tiketi, dimana tiketi itu, dan pada poin ini sampai pula, pak bulan dua dan bulan ini, farmers lah ini represent keren ni. Food safety. What is the meaning of food safety? Because last month I participated in UN workshop food safety. I asked
Food security.
Food security. I asked, please can you define the food security? What's food security?
Food security means you're hungry, just eat anything. Be food secured, just take anything. While food sovereignty is different. Food sovereignty means I want to eat, but I want to eat in a respectable manner, sourced locally, culturally appropriate for me. I can give an example. In 2000, there was a famine and a drought in Zambia, and the United States offered to bring them food from the US. What food program? But the government of Zambia said, oh, there's a drought in the south, but in the north, they have food. Give us the money. Let us buy fruit from the north so that our people can eat what they are used to. So bringing food from the US, that is food security. You are hungry, eat anything, we're gonna bring food. But the people wanted food sovereignty. Let us eat what is locally sourced in a respectable manner. So those are two different concepts. One is, if you're hungry, just is disrespectful. You want to, they can bring out food miles. They can just dump food from anywhere for you people to eat. But we are saying, no, if I'm hungry, I have to eat in dignity, locally sourced, culturally appropriate for me, what I'm used to. As you can imagine, food plays a very important role in all our customs. Everything where we come from involves food, from birth to death. Food is involved, and food is respected. So you don't force your food on us because we feel that's an abuse. Paula would now add something. Thank you.
I think my colleague already did a very good presentation, but just also to say where food security comes from. It comes from the institutions in order to respond to hunger and poverty that came up after the Second World War. And they entered an industrialized logic, the so-called Green Revolution, which is not revolutionary, has been investing in a model of productivity, globalized markets, where not only the quality of what we eat and what we eat matters. It doesn't matter. What is important are the calories that each human being receives per day. But we said that this model is leading us to abuse of farmers, small-scale food producers, fishers as well, pastoralists, indigenous communities. It's leading to extractivist practices in our territories. It's leading to climate change, because of this globalized markets. The food is traveling around the world instead of being eaten locally. So there are different dimensions of the food system that doesn't matter for food security. The most important is to produce more and more, no matter what. And what we are saying is that this is not the way forward. Yes, we have to work against hunger. We have to work against poverty, but this is not the way to do that. We have to give the power to the people, power to small-scale food producers to have autonomy, to be in dialogue with their communities around, to see what their communities need so we can produce. So there is a social dimension, there is an ecological dimension, there is a rights dimension. All this is part of food sovereignty. Not only the issue of getting calories. It's about nutrients or nourishing relations with our bodies, with our communities, and with our territories. And again, not only the ones today, in respect with the ones who came before us and the ones that are going to come after us.
So let me briefly comment on what has just been said. Paula said that the food sovereignty paradigm we defend sees food as a human right, as a fundamental human right. And we are talking about the right to have access on a permanent, voluntary, free basis to adequate food that allows us to live a dignified, a healthy living. And what I would like to highlight is that the food that this dominant agro-industrial system is putting in our table is making us sick, and is making us die as a consequence of the diseases. It's the main burden of disease nowadays worldwide. We are speaking about the GMOs, we are speaking about the agrotoxics, especially in a country like Sri Lanka, but worldwide. I mean, can we say that our food is safe when it comes with residues of different agrotoxics, different poisons that are incorporated through this way to our bodies? We have to put in the table the discussion over the way in which we are producing the meat we eat, whether it is cow meat, whether it is pork, whether it is fish, when it is done in an industrialized ways, but because we are having very homogeneous animals secluded in confined establishments, subject to the application of antivirals and antibiotics that pass to the meat and the milk of those animals, and therefore we eat them with those residues of antibiotics. And also they pollute the water in which those animals are secluded, and therefore they also incorporate to our bodies through the water we are drinking. And this is having one of the greatest health problems that we are facing now, which is antimicrobial resistance. 1.4 million people die a year because we are not having antibiotics sufficiently strong to deal with these microbes that become stronger and stronger as a consequence of the widespread use of antibiotics in animal production. Following to that, let's put a look into ultra-processed foods that are consumed widely in all of our countries. They've successfully, this dominant system, to homogenize our patterns of consumption, leading to the increasing consumption of these ultra-processed foods, which are the items where the industry, the food industry, maximizes their profits because they produce the raw materials at scale, they add sugar, they add salt, they add chemical additives to create an illusion of diversity. But these, we always say, these are good for the shareholders of the food industry, very bad to eat because they are clearly associated with the global pandemic of obesity, overweight, and chronic diseases that we are facing: diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, cerebrovascular disease, 14 types of cancer clearly associated with the consumption of ultra-processed foods. And also we need to highlight the importance of breastfeeding as the perfect expression and the first expression of food sovereignty that is being replaced by these commercial instant formulas for babies, where we find chemicals, where we find heavy metals, where we are finding microplastics. So from the food sovereignty perspective and from the human right to food perspective that we defend, it's absolutely urgent that we build collectively a different food system, just food system that replaces this our industrial food system, and it has a name, and that's the food sovereignty and the agroecologic paradigm. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to add to what my colleagues and comrades have said, that food sovereignty starts with one important question, which is why are people unable to eat? Specifically in the global south, we have been feeding our people for thousands of years. How come is it today that in so many places, from Africa to Latin America to India and Sri Lanka to Palestine, we're unable to feed our people? There's famines, but actually this is starvation. This is a political issue because of the way in which the corporations are imposing on us a system that's abusive to our lands, to our commons, to our seeds, to our people, to our peasants, in the sense that such a system doesn't allow us to become independent. So it doesn't allow us to feed and produce in our own, from our own lands and with our own seeds. And it's a system that abuses our peasants, specifically the women and the marginalized communities within our peasants, so that they can't even live by planting their lands, by fishing, by producing through their commons. So it is very important for us to understand that famines and starvations are not a local issue, but it's an international, but it's an issue that has been imposed upon us by different agreements, trade agreements and policies, of agricultural policies produced specifically by what is called as the Green Revolution.
Yes.
Question. Okay.
Okay, මේ තත්ත්වයන් ගැන ඔබලගේ මේ සමුවේදී කතා කරන්න යනවා කියන.
But you would be discussing about the global conflict issues also during the summit.
එතකොට දැන් සමුවේදී එන්නේ සැප්තැම්බර් මාසයේ. දැන් මේ වෙනකොට වර්තමානයේ මේ වෙනකොට දැන් ඉන්දියා පාකිස්තාන අතර ගැටුමක් පටන් ගත්තා. ඒක තමයි මාස් තුනක් කෙනෙකුට අපුල ඇක්ෂන් එක ගන්න යන්නේ මාස් 3කට පස්සේද නැත්නම් මොන වගේ එකක්ද ගන්න නැහැ. ඒ සීමාවන් වල ගොවියෝ වැඩිපුර
After September.
මම හිතන්නේ මේ ඒක නිශ්චිතවම කියන්න ඕනේ මේ මම කිව්වේ මේ එකතු වෙලා ඉන්නේ ගෝලීය එකතුව කියලා කියන්නේ හුදු මේ ආහාර පිළිබඳව තියෙන මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි ඒ ආහාර නිෂ්පාදනය කිරීමට බෙදා හැරීමට අදාළව කටයුතු කරන සියලුම අයගේ අනිකුත් දේවල් වෙනුවෙන් පෙනී ඉන්න ව්‍යාපාරයක්. ඒ නිසා අපි ගෝලීය ව්‍යාපාරයන් විදියට මේ මොහොතේ කියන්නේ මේ මොහොතේ ඉඳලම අපි ඒ වෙනුවෙන් තියෙන අපේ මැදිහත් වීම අපි කරමින් ඉන්නවා. ඒ නිසා මට කියන්න උවමනාව තිබුණේ ඒකට සැප්තැම්බර් දක්වා ඉන්න ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි මේ මොහොතේ අපේ විරෝධතාවයන් සහයෝගීතාවයන් ඒ වෙනුවෙන් ලෝකේ පුරාම හඬ නගන්න එමගේ මේ අවශ්‍යතාවය වෙනුවෙන් අපි මේ මොහොතේ පෙනී ඉන්නවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉතාම ශක්තිමත්ව නිදහස් පලස්තීනයක් වෙනුවෙන් තියෙන පලස්තීන ජනතාවගේ නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් මේ වෙනකොට කරන්න තියෙන උපරිම මැදිහත් වීම අපිත් කරමින් ඉන්න ව්‍යාපාරයක් විදියට මේ ගොලි ව්‍යාපාරයක් විදියට ඒ අර්ථයෙන් ගත්තොත් මේක මේ එකතු වෙලා ඉන්න ගැමි ගොවීන් සුළු පරිමාණ ආහාර නිෂ්පාදකයෝ කියලා කියන්නේ හුදු මේ තමන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට විතරක් නෙමෙයි මේ මොහොතේ ඉඳලා මේ ප්‍රශ්න වලට පෙනී ඉන්න කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඒක අපි සැප්තැම්බර් වෙනකන් කල් දාන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. ඒ වෙනුවෙන් අපි කළ හැකි සියලු මැදිහත් වීම මේ මොහොතේ සිටම කරන්න සූදානම් ව්‍යාපාරයක් විදියට තමයි කටයුතු කරමින් ඉන්න සහ ඉස්සරහට කරන්න සූදානම් වෙන ගොලී ව්‍යාපාරයක් විදියට ඉන්නේ.